Hello students, today I am going to talk about regulation of blood glucose. What is the importance of blood glucose regulation? Brain needs a continuous supply of glucose for its energy needs. Other tissues like RBC, renal medulla, cornea and lens also utilize glucose as their only fuel. Hence a certain amount of glucose has to be available in the blood at all times. The plasma glucose level at an instant depends on the balance between glucose entering and leaving the extracellular fluid. Hormones will make this balance possible. Factors contributing to blood glucose are absorption from intestine, glycogenolysis, that is breakdown of glycogen into glucose, gluconeogenesis, that is synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources, action of hyperglycemic hormones like glucagon, thyroid hormones, etc. Factors that remove glucose from blood are utilization by the tissues for energy, glycogenesis, that is synthesis of glycogen from glucose, conversion of surplus, that is extra amount of glucose into fat by lipogenesis, action of hypoglycemic hormones like insulin. Blood glucose regulation during starvation and feeding. This cycle is known as starve-fed cycle, which consists of three stages or states. Number one is well-fed or postprandial state after a meal. Number two is early fasting or post-absorptive state during the night. And number three is refed state, that is after taking breakfast. Postprandial state. Glucose and amino acids are transported from the intestine to the blood. Dietary lipids are packaged into chylomicrons and transported to the blood by lymphatic system. Insulin is secreted, which is stimulated by glucose and the parasympathetic nervous system. Insulin stimulates storage of fuels and synthesis of proteins. It stimulates glycogenesis in both muscle and liver and suppresses gluconeogenesis. Insulin accelerates glycolysis in liver, forming more amount of pyruvate and acetyl coenzyme A, leading to increase in fatty acid synthesis, because acetyl coenzyme A is a precursor of fatty acid. Liver processes extra amount of blood glucose present after a meal with the help of glucokinase enzyme. Glucokinase, an isoenzyme of hexokinase, has a high Km value and is thus active only when blood glucose levels are high. Furthermore, glucokinase is not inhibited by its end product, glucose 6-phosphate. High glucose allosterically inhibits phosphorylase A and converts it into glycogen phosphorylase B, leading to inhibition of glycogenolysis. High insulin promotes the entry of glucose into muscle and adipose tissue. Glucose entry into adipose tissue provides glycerol triphosphate for synthesis of triacylglycerol. Insulin promotes the uptake of branched-chain amino acids by muscle. Insulin stimulates protein synthesis and inhibits intracellular protein degradation. So insulin is an anabolic hormone. This is a pictorial representation of the different events occurring in the postprandial state or the well-fed state. First, glucose and amino acids after taking a meal are absorbed from the intestine into the blood circulation. Fats are packaged into the chylomicrons and absorbed through the lymphatic circulation into the blood circulation. Increased amount of glucose and parasympathetic nervous system stimulates secretion of insulin from the pancreas, which stimulates formation of glycogen from glucose and stored. It also stimulates glycolysis in the liver, which forms pyruvate and acetyl coenzyme A, which acts as the precursor of fatty acid synthesis and ultimately triacylglycerol, which is stored in the adipose tissue. Amino acids form proteins by protein synthesis, and insulin stimulates the uptake of glucose by various tissues like muscle and adipose tissue. Next is the fasting or post-absorptive state. Blood glucose levels begins to drop, leading to decrease in insulin secretion and rise in glucagon secretion. Glucagon stimulates glycogenolysis and inhibits glycogenesis through cyclic AMP cascade by activating the enzyme glycogen phosphorylase and inhibiting glycogen synthase. It stimulates gluconeogenesis in the liver and blocks glycolysis by lowering the level of fructose 2,6-bisphosphate, which is an allosteric activator of the glycolytic enzyme phosphofructokinase. Glucagon inhibits fatty acid synthesis by diminishing the production of pyruvate and by lowering the activity of acetyl coenzyme carboxylase by maintaining it in a phosphorylated state. So the blood glucose level is maintained by glycogenolysis and release of glucose by liver, decreased entry of glucose into muscle and adipose tissue cells due to low insulin, shift in the fuel from glucose to fatty acids by muscle and liver. So in the fasting state, blood glucose level begins to drop. So body tries to increase the blood glucose level. So glucagon is secreted from the pancreas. It stimulates glycogenolysis, forming glucose, as well as it stimulates gluconeogenesis from other non-carbohydrate sources. The glucose is produced by gluconeogenesis. Then glucose is preferably utilized by the brain, and the other tissues preferably utilizes the fatty acids as their fuel. State is refat state, that is after taking the breakfast. The liver does not initially absorb glucose from the blood, but instead leaves it for the peripheral tissues. Gluconeogenesis continues in the liver to replenish glycogen stores. As the blood glucose level continues to rise, liver completes the glycogen replenishment and processes the excess glucose for fatty acid synthesis. So how blood sugar is regulated during prolonged starvation? Stored fuel suffice to meet calorie needs in starvation for 1 to 3 months. But the carbohydrate reserves are exhausted in only a day. Even under starvation conditions, the blood glucose level must be maintained above 40 mg per deciliter. The first priority of metabolism in starvation is to provide sufficient glucose to the brain, RBCs, and the tissues absolutely dependent on glucose. The second priority is to preserve protein by shifting the fuel being used from glucose to fatty acids and ketone bodies. The metabolic changes on first day of starvation are like those after an overnight fast, that is, muscle uses no glucose and relies exclusively on fatty acids for fuel. Degraded proteins are not replenished and serve as carbon sources for glucose synthesis. Initial sources of protein are those that turn over rapidly, like proteins of intestinal epithelium and the secretions of pancreas. This is followed by breakdown of muscle proteins. After 3 days of starvation, the liver forms large amounts of ketone bodies from acetyl coenzyme A and release them into the blood. Brain and also the heart begins to consume high amounts of acetoacetate in place of glucose, which take up to 1/3 of energy needs. After several weeks of starvation, ketone bodies become the major fuel of the brain. Hence, less muscle is degraded than in the first days of starvation. When the triacylglycerol stores are depleted, protein degradation accelerates, and death inevitably results from loss of heart, liver, and/or kidney function. This slide shows the formation of ketone bodies from acetyl coenzyme A. So, two acetyl coenzymes combine to form acetoacetyl coenzyme A by the action of the enzyme thiolase. One coenzyme A is released in this process. Then this acetoacetyl coenzyme A combines with another molecule of acetyl coenzyme A to form HMG coenzyme A or hydroxymethyl glutaryl coenzyme A. One coenzyme A is released and the reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme HMG coenzyme A synthase. Then HMG coenzyme A is acted upon by the enzyme HMG coenzyme A lyase to form acetoacetate, and one acetyl coenzyme molecule is released. This is the first ketone body which is formed, which is spontaneously decarboxylated to form the second ketone body, that is acetone. And acetoacetate is acted upon by the enzyme 3-hydroxybutyrate dehydrogenase to form 3-hydroxybutyrate or beta-hydroxybutyrate. This picture shows the synthesis, transport and utilization of ketone bodies by the extrahepatic tissues. So synthesis of ketone bodies occur in the liver, which is transported to the extrahepatic tissues in blood, and this ketone body acetoacetate combines with succinyl coenzyme A to form acetoacetyl coenzyme A and succinate, acted upon by the enzyme coenzyme transferase, and acetoacetyl coenzyme A is broken by the enzyme thiolase to form acetyl coenzyme A, which is utilized by the extrahepatic tissues through TCA cycle and oxidative phosphorylation. Fuel choice during exercise. The fuels used in anaerobic exercises like sprinting differ from those used in aerobic exercises like distance running. A 100-meter sprint is powered by stored ATP, creatine phosphate, and the anaerobic glycolysis of muscle glycogen. As the distance of the run increases, like 1000 meter, aerobic respiration or oxidative phosphorylation becomes increasingly important. The fuel requirement for running of a marathon needs cooperation between muscle, liver, and adipose tissue. So the fuel for marathon runners is supplied by muscle glycogen, liver glycogen, and fatty acids of adipose tissue. Elite runners consume about equal amounts of glycogen and fatty acids during a marathon. A low blood glucose leads to a high glucagon-insulin ratio, which in turn mobilizes fatty acids from adipose tissue. The acetyl coenzyme A produced due to fatty acid oxidation inhibits pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, which in turn decreases the utilization of glucose through TCA cycle and oxidative phosphorylation. Glucose is thus spared so that just enough remains available at the end of marathon. I will talk about some hormones that regulate blood sugar. Most important hormone is the insulin. Insulin is produced in the beta cells of the pancreatic islets. It is initially synthesized as a single-chain 86 amino acid precursor polypeptide pre-proinsulin. Subsequent proteolytic processing removes the amino terminal signal peptide, giving rise to proinsulin. Proinsulin is structurally related to insulin-like growth factors 1 and 2, which bind weakly to the insulin receptor. Cleavage of an internal 31 residue fragment from proinsulin generates the C-peptide and the A and B chains having 21 and 30 amino acids respectively, which are connected by disulfide bonds. The mature insulin molecule and C-peptide are stored together and co-secreted from secretory granules in the beta cells. Because C-peptide is cleared more slowly than insulin, it is a useful marker of insulin secretion and allows discrimination of endogenous and exogenous sources of insulin in the evaluation of hypoglycemia. This is the diagram showing the structure of proinsulin and active insulin having A chain, B chain, and the C peptide, and the structure of active insulin having A chain consisting of 21 amino acids, B chain consisting of 30 amino acids, and they are joined by disulfide bonds. Secretion of insulin. Glucose is the key regulator of insulin secretion by the pancreatic beta cell, although amino acids, ketones, various nutrients, gastrointestinal peptides, and neurotransmitters also influence insulin secretion. Glucose levels more than 70 mg per deciliter stimulate insulin synthesis primarily by enhancing protein translation and processing. Glucose stimulation of insulin secretion begins with its transport into the beta cell by a facilitative glucose transporter. Glucose phosphorylation by glucokinase is the rate-limiting step that controls glucose-regulated insulin secretion. Further metabolism of glucose 6-phosphate via glycolysis generates ATP, which inhibits the activity of an ATP-sensitive potassium channel. This channel consists of two separate proteins. One is the binding site for certain oral hypoglycemics. The other is an inwardly rectifying potassium channel protein. Inhibition of this potassium channel induces beta cell membrane depolarization, which opens voltage-dependent calcium channels and stimulates insulin secretion. Insulin secretory profiles reveal a pulsatile pattern of hormone release with small secretory bursts occurring about every 10 minutes, superimposed upon greater amplitude oscillations of about 80 to 150 minutes. Incretins are released from neuroendocrine cells of the gastrointestinal tract following food ingestion and amplify glucose-stimulated insulin secretion and suppress glucagon secretion. Glucagon-like peptide 1 or GLP-1, the most potent incretin, is released from ALK cells in the small intestine and stimulates insulin secretion only when the blood glucose is above the fasting level. Incretin analogs are used to enhance endogenous insulin secretion. This is the diagram showing the secretion of insulin from the beta cells. Glucose first enters the beta cell through GLUT2 receptor and acted upon by the enzyme glucokinase to form glucose 6-phosphate, which undergoes glycolysis to form pyruvate and gives ATP. This ATP inhibits the ATP-sensitive potassium channel, which causes depolarization of the membrane, causing influx of calcium, and this calcium causes secretion of insulin from the secretory granules in pulsatile manner. Actions of insulin. Once insulin is secreted into the portal venous system, 50% is removed and degraded by the liver. Unextracted insulin enters the systemic circulation where it binds to receptors in target sites. Insulin binding to its receptors stimulates intrinsic tyrosine kinase activity, leading to receptor autophosphorylation and the recruitment of intracellular signaling molecules such as insulin receptor substrates or IRS. IRS and other adapter proteins initiate a complex cascade of phosphorylation and dephosphorylation reactions, resulting in the widespread metabolic and mitogenic effects of insulin. As an example, activation of the phosphatidylinositol 3' kinase pathway stimulates translocation of a facilitative glucose transporter, for example GLUT4, to the cell surface, an event that is crucial for glucose uptake by skeletal muscle and fat. Activation of other insulin receptor signaling pathways induces glycogen synthesis, protein synthesis, lipogenesis, and regulation of various genes in insulin responsive cells. This is the diagram showing the action of insulin. Insulin first binds to the insulin receptor present in the cell surface, which undergoes phosphorylation cascades and which recruits IRS proteins, and it causes transport of these GLUT4 molecules to the cell surface, through which the glucose is taken up by the cells. This table shows the effects of insulin on blood glucose. The first metabolic effect is increasing the glucose uptake by muscle and adipose tissue by activating the glucose transporter GLUT4. Then increased uptake of glucose by liver by activating the enzyme glucokinase. Increased glycogenesis by liver and muscle by activating the enzyme glycogen synthase. Decreasing glycogen breakdown by liver and muscle by inhibiting the enzyme glycogen phosphorylase. It stimulates glycolysis and acetyl coenzyme production by activating phosphofructokinase 1 and pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. Increasing the fatty acid synthesis in liver by activating the enzyme acetyl coenzyme carboxylase. Increasing the triacylglycerol synthesis in adipose tissue by activating the enzyme lipoprotein lipase. Next hormone which regulates blood sugar is glucagon. Its actions are just opposite to the actions of insulin, and it is secreted by alpha cells of the pancreas. The first metabolic effect is increasing glycogen breakdown in the liver by activating the enzyme glycogen phosphorylase. Decreased synthesis of glycogen in the liver by inhibiting glycogen synthase enzyme. Inhibiting glycolysis in the liver by inhibiting phosphofructokinase 1. Stimulating gluconeogenesis in the liver by activating fructose 2,6 bisphosphatase. Decrease amount of pyruvate kinase activity and increase amount of phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase activity. It stimulates fatty acid mobilization from the adipose tissue by activating the enzyme hormone sensitive lipase and protein kinase A. It stimulates ketogenesis by inhibiting acetyl coenzyme A carboxylase enzyme. Next hormone is epinephrine. In stressful situation, neuronal signals from the brain trigger the release of epinephrine and norepinephrine from the adrenal medulla. Epinephrine acts on muscle, liver, and adipose tissue. It stimulates glycogenolysis and inhibits glycogenesis. It stimulates glycolysis by raising the concentration of fructose 2,6 bisphosphate. It also stimulates fat mobilization in adipose tissue by activating hormone sensitive lipase. Finally, it stimulates glucagon secretion and inhibits insulin secretion, reinforcing its effect of mobilizing fuels and inhibiting fuel storage. Next is cortisol. Stressors like anxiety, fear, pain, hemorrhage, infection, low blood glucose, starvation, etc. stimulate cortisol secretion from the adrenal cortex. In adipose tissue, it leads to an increase in the release of fatty acids from the stored triacylglycerol. The exported fatty acids serve as fuel for other tissues, and the glycerol is used for gluconeogenesis in the liver. It stimulates breakdown of non-essential muscle proteins and the export of amino acids to liver, where they serve as precursors for gluconeogenesis. In the liver, cortisol promotes gluconeogenesis by stimulating the synthesis of the key enzyme phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase. Glucose produced in the whey is stored in the liver as glycogen or exported immediately to the tissues that need glucose as fuel. The net effect of these metabolic changes is to restore blood glucose to its normal level and to increase glycogen stores ready to support the fight or flight response associated with stress. The effects of cortisol therefore counterbalance those of insulin. This diagram shows the overview of blood glucose regulation. The normal fasting plasma glucose is 70 to 100 mg per deciliter, and 2 hours postprandial glucose is less than 140 mg per deciliter. To maintain plasma glucose in this range, 4 factors are responsible: hyperglycemic factors, hyperglycemic hormones, hypoglycemic factors, and hypoglycemic hormone. Factors that increase blood sugar level are absorption of glucose from GIT, glycogenolysis in liver, gluconeogenesis in liver. The hormones that increase the blood sugar level are glucagon, adrenaline, corticosteroids, growth hormone, ACTH, and thyroxine. Factors that decrease blood sugar level are glycolysis in all cells, glycogen synthesis in liver, and lipogenesis. The hormone that decreases blood sugar level is insulin. Blood sugar regulation. Thank you.